Hello boys and girls, today we're going to work on page 28 from your textbook or your workbook, sorry. Page 28, as you can see right here, is the guided practice. Let's work on 1 to 4 now. For this we have to know how to convert often between different mass, different capacities, and different volumes, as well as different weights in the U.S. customary system. If you look at question 1, they're asking us what 8.34 pounds per gallon is in ounces. So they want to know what this is in ounces. Okay, so if you're having an issue with this, you can always type in what is a pound to an ounce or pounds to ounces in Google, and you're going to get this reply. Google has a built-in converter, and it'll give you this. So I typed in what is 1 pound in ounces, and it tells me 1 pound is 16 ounces. Now, as I mentioned before, this is very important for you to memorize. You have to learn the U.S. customary system if you want to do well on your map test. When you have these questions come up in your map test, you're just going to have to know that 1 pound has 16 ounces. Okay? So here we're looking at 8.34 pounds. What is that in ounces? Okay, so how do we do it? Let's take a look. Water weighs about 8.34 pounds per gallon. About how many ounces per gallon is the weight of the water? So really all they want us to do is to convert the pounds per gallon into ounces per gallon, as you can see right there. So don't stress too much about the gallon aspect of it. They really just want us to tell us convert this weight, pounds per gallon, into ounces per gallon. So we know that 1 pound is 16 ounces, so we simply just have to multiply the pounds times 16. So 8.34 times 16 equals 133.4. This is ounces per gallon. So you would have to write the unit, which is ounces, is OZ per gallon. And that's how we write the unit. Okay, let's go on to number 2. A skydiver is falling at about 176 feet per second. That's incredibly fast. How many feet per minute is he falling? So here we're doing 176 per second. And then we want to know per minute, so we know that that's going to be 60 seconds. So 176 times 60 seconds will give you the minute. So again, we take the 176 feet, okay, as you see right there, 176 feet per second. But now we want to know per minute, so we know we have to write 60 seconds, because we know there are 60 seconds in a minute. When we multiply those, we will get how many feet he falls in a minute. Okay, so he falls 10,560 feet per minute. Don't forget to include the unit. It's feet per minute. Okay, go ahead and write that down. Moving on to number 3. Lorenzo rides his bike at a rate of 5 yards per second. About how many miles per hour can Lorenzo ride his bike? Hint: 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Okay, for this one we'll have to do some converting. We have 5 yards, okay, per second. But we need to know per hour, how many yards in an hour. Ignore the miles for now. Ignore the miles. Let's just find out how many yards he can ride in 1 hour. Well, how do we convert? How many seconds are in an hour? There are 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. So we have to multiply 60 seconds times 60 minutes to get the number of seconds in an hour. So I start by doing that. I just take 60 seconds times 60 for the minute, and that will give me my total number of seconds in an hour. And I know that he can ride 5 yards per second. So whatever number of seconds I get, I have to multiply it by 5 because it's 5 yards per every second. 60 times 60 is 3,600. And that's your number, the number of seconds in an hour. So it's 5 yards per every second. So 5 times 3,600 is going to tell you how many yards he rides in an hour. But now the question is asking how many miles does he ride? How many miles? So we have to take this number, okay, this number of yards that he rides per second, this whole number of yards, and divide it by the number of yards in a mile so that we can get the number of miles. This will give us, because I'm going to divide the total number of yards per second, or total number of yards in an hour, and I divide it by the number of yards in a mile. It's going to convert all of this into the number of miles, because this is how many yards are in a mile. And after I divide, I get 10.2 miles per hour. Do not forget the unit. If you have any questions about this, please make sure that you put a star on it and you ask me in class. Number 4. Explain why the ratio 3 feet over 1 yard has a value of 1. So 3 feet to 1 yard. Well, we're using different measurements here. We're using feet, different units of measurements. We're using feet and we're using yards. But if you look at our wall in our classroom, you can see that 3 feet is 1 yard. So this is essentially like saying 1 yard over 1 yard, or 3 feet over 3 feet. That's why it has the value of 1. The numerator and the denominator are equal. 3 feet is the same as 1 yard. So the value of the fraction is 1.